anxiety felt by many Nigerians over the conduct of party primaries, especially those of the All Progressives Congress and People's Democratic Party, is gradually fizzling out as some sort of calm returns to the political space. Good afternoon. I am Precious Amayo. Welcome to Political Standpoint. Now, in what can only be described as one of the mostly keenly contested presidential primary in the history of our democracy, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, former senator and former Lagos State governor, emerged the presidential flag bearer of the APC. Regarded as a master strategist, Bola Tinubu surmounted every hurdle to lift the party's flag. And tension is now on who becomes his running mate. Joining me via Zoom is Osun State Commissioner for Works and Transport, Engineer Remi Omowaye. And via Zoom as well is former legal advisor of the APC Lagos State Chapter, Barrister Ademola Sodiq. Good to have you both. Well, let me begin with you, Barrister Ademola Sodiq. I'm very sure of course, you're a member of the party. You would have followed the events that unfolded just before that primaries. Let me get your thoughts on the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the presidential flag bearer, and how you saw, when you saw things unfold, what was your impression, whether you thought he was ever going to win the presidential ticket of the party? All right, so we seem to be having a feedback from one of your devices. We're going to go on break to allow you fix that feedback, and then we'll return. We'll have the conversation proper. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. We are staying on the conversation as to who becomes the presidential running mate of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. INEC has given a deadline, whether he's able to meet that deadline, and people say it is a tricky process, especially because there is a lot of permutations now going on who can become his presidential, vice presidential running mate, actually. But we still have the Osun State Commissioner for Works and Transport, Engineer Remi Omowaye. He joins us via Zoom. We're also joined by legal advisor of the APC Lagos State Chapter, Barrister Ademola Sodiq. And now we're also joined by, from our Abuja studio, the chairman, Northern Young Professionals for Tinubu, Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai. Good to have you join us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let me start with you, Abdullahi. I'm sure you have followed these events. What's your thoughts on the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu? And just again, you are the chairman of the Northern Professionals for Tinubu. Was this expected? Were you expecting him? You and your team, were you expecting him to win?
Okay, you see, honestly, from inception, if you look at the APC as a family, I keep saying this. The political cloud of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has no match because of his, outreach. He would keep saying it, and it's a known fact that he was instrumental, from inception to bringing the party to the center. So we were expecting this victory, and on that day it was shown because you see, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu had 1,271 votes. If you merge all the votes garnered by the other opponents, altogether they are not up to what our principal got. So that's tell you that it was expected, but the beauty of democracy is there should be a contest. That was why we kept saying we didn't want consensus. So it was a free and fair primaries where His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Tinubu emerged victorious with a landslide margin beyond imagination. So that tells you that, yes, our conviction came to fruition because he got the ticket in a landslide manner, in a granted style.
And the question now is, because you mentioned accurately that it was a landslide victory, even the closest rival was still by distant number. you look at 1,000, over 1,000 votes to about 300 and something, 200 or 300 and something votes. It's distant. But the question is, how will he be able to translate these numbers from the primaries to actual votes in 2023, especially when you look at those he will be competing against? For example, someone like Atiku. There is now a Peter Obi who is seen as the third force in the race, and there is also Kwankwaso of the NNPP.
Yes, you see, no matter how little an opposition is an opposition. And we know there's a lot of work to be done because, I mean, the other parties, that is the PDP candidate, Atiku Abubakar, and Kwankwaso, as well as the Labour Party candidate, that's Peter Obi. But what I want to assure you is, you see now, the emergence of Bola Tinubu is more or less like a reciprocal gesture from the north. And we have been trying to, you know, have this merger, and it's now going to happen by God's grace. Once you have Asiwaju from the southwest and the north rally around him, I mean, that team will be unbeatable.
When you say merger, hasn't that merger always existed? I mean, we had Obasanjo who had a northern vice president in Atiku, except you're speaking for your party, but we also had someone like Yar'Adua who had, late Yar'Adua who had Goodluck Jonathan from the south. There's always been the south-north dichotomy in terms of having the candidates who work together. If you're a presidential candidate, you definitely, if you're from the south, you're expected to pick your vice presidential running mate from the north. It's always been there. That merger has always been there. And what exactly do you think is special about this particular one?
What is special is, you see, the north is united. If you see the pattern of the voting that took place during the convention, the whole northern states, we can't say the whole, but a lot of the northern states came together and they were unified behind Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Because it's only right now that President Muhammadu Buhari has done 8 years that the power should shift to the south. That is what we want to see. And the whole north will work with the candidate of the party from the south, which is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. So you see, his antecedents is what we are looking at. That what he did for Lekki, no one ever envisaged that can happen. Because, I mean, since the time of the Shagaris, the older generation, they've been thinking how to expand Lagos. It couldn't happen, but Bola Tinubu did that. And that is the capacity people see in him. You know? And this is somebody that he has wide outreach. From Sokoto to Zamfara to Katsina, Kano, Maiduguri, everywhere you go in the north, he has political associates. In fact, what we're looking at is, now that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has emerged, we feel the whole north will rally around him, and we need other people to work with. The work has just started. There are contestants we're looking at that we can talk to, so that this team will be blossoming, you know. They can work with us because he is a man that has a large heart. He's a Democrat. He can open up and discuss with other parties and see how we can bring them in. Just yesterday, I had the interview with Ahmed Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, His Excellency. He talked about Kwankwaso. This is somebody that we can approach. And Asiwaju is somebody that is outgoing. All these contestants, you've been seeing it, he has been going out, meeting them, going to them. He's met with Amechi, has gone to see Yahya Bello. He will continue to do that. Now it's time for consultations, you know. And we in the North, our organization, Northern Young Professionals, we are ready to go to every state and canvass this support and make sure that people get their voters card ready, so that come 2023, they will vote Asiwaju, and by God's grace, he becomes the next president of this country.
You were talking earlier about how Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is now meeting with former aspirants who contested with him. Many say that that's one of the biggest tasks before him in terms of unifying the party ahead of the 2023 elections. But I also want to pick on a statement you made earlier where you said the whole North is united behind him. When you say the whole North, are you talking about the APC whole North, which is in terms of the states where you have APC governors, or you're talking about generally the whole North? Because there's also a whole North where we have PDP governors as well.
Yes, you see, we have governors from APC, and they are predominantly in the northern part of the country. But what you should look at is this general election is beyond just party members. I know for sure that people in the north are ready to see the presidency of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu because they see him as somebody they have hope in him. Because when you're looking at leaders, you look at two things. You look at the qualities. One is someone that builds his people, someone that builds his society. These are the antecedents of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He has been building people, and that is what people want to see. And by the time with the campaigning starts, the program he has will win the heart of the majority of the Nigerians, especially the Northerners, because the Northerners are convinced they want power to shift to the South. That is an age in itself.
And sorry to jump in, Yakasai.
Because once you say power should shift to the South...
Just a minute, Yakasai. You don't think that Atiku, who has always polled millions of votes, even in 2019, he polled millions of votes in the North, you don't think that he will be able to poll that number of votes in 2023?
He will get votes, but what I'm telling you is it's time for the South, if we are sincere. It's time for the South. So Atiku is a northerner, and we have 14 governors, if I'm not mistaken, from the North. These governors are APC states that have been winning elections in this party. So they will rally those northerners and will get these votes from the northwest to the northeast. You know, we have a vibrant team, people with capacity in that team from northeast, where even Atiku comes from, and we're going to slug it out there. You know, the northwest, we feel we have majority of the governors, and they have had a lot of programs that impacted on their people, and we feel people are comfortable with our governors, and this will give us the votes. And then coming back to the issue of the presidency, you need a southerner. Or if you sit down, you have to see that that is an age in itself for our principal, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, because we want to see that power shift to the South. And the South as well, we want to see someone from there. So that too will give us an edge in the South. So if you merge all this together, victory is ours by God's grace.
Let's try and take this conversation again to Barrister Ademola Sadiq, who is joining us via Zoom. You've been listening to Yakasai. What role do you think that because again, there's been so much talk about who his vice presidential running mate will be and how important that role is. What do you think? How important do you think that role will be? Because there, again, people are saying it cannot be a Muslim ticket. It has to be a Muslim Christian ticket. What do you make of that?
Yes, thank you very much. As I started before, I will say a big thank you to the President, Muhammadu Buhari, for allowing the electoral process to go through its course. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of belief in the system for the sitting president to allow the process to run its course. You can see that immediately, the moment the system runs its course, the popularity of the party, APC, within itself, within its members, rose, skyrocketed. And this is the beginning of preparation for the hard work ahead. I want to tell you, if the process has been truncated or interfered with, a lot of party members, APC members will have been disgruntled, and unity will not be available for us. But now, presently, the unity in APC is so wonderful that the people are ready to work. So, coming back to the issue of vice president, I believe that Nigerians will rise above Muslim, Christian, Muslim, ticket. I think I want to align myself with the submission of His Excellency Governor Rufai, that we should put people who can do the job there. That is the most important thing. But notwithstanding, because of the sentiment of people, I want to appeal to Khan and to other people who possibly will raise the issue of religion to please calm down and allow the process to run its course, and let us have a team of people who can really do the job. Nigeria is at a certain delicate state now, that we need people who can really push the economy out of recession, out of doldrum, and push it forward and generate employment. If employment is generally generated, the issue of insecurity will reduce. A lot of young people who engage in criminal activities will go on and get engaged in productive activities. So I want to appeal to Nigerians. Let us calm down on the issue of religion. We should not be pushing religion to the forefront at this stage. Let us not put religion to the forefront. Let us push the issue of competence and ability to deliver good governance to the forefront.
I'm staying with you, Barrister Sadiq. You mentioned that Nigerians shouldn't be pushing the issue of religion to the forefront. In 1993, it looks like we were able to move past that, where we had the candidacy of Abiola and someone like Babagana Kingibe, who was also a Muslim. But people say that we are way past that now, especially when you look at some of the agitations in the country, and that the recent attack in Owo does not make anything easier for a Muslim ticket. You don't think that in the light of things in this country, and Khan has already spoken, by the way, and they say that they are against the Muslim ticket. You don't think that that's going to make that kind of ticket problematic, especially in the South?
Yeah, you see, it's about leadership. It's about leadership. I'm sure within if I'm not saying that we are not even thinking that is where our party is going, but it's just an idea that is floating around. People should just remain calm and allow the negotiation and the discussions of stakeholders going on, particularly the Nigeria Progressive Governance Forum and all the stakeholders that are talking about, sourcing a vice president for, presidential candidate for Asiwaju. Let them complete their discussion and let them come up with something. I'm sure whatever position they come up with, there must be a reason behind it. And they will let everybody know. So it's a matter of leadership. Once the leaders are able to galvanize the populace, most of the religious issues going on, they are being supported by some leaders. And I hope our opponent, the PDP, will not raise the issue of insecurity, will not politicize the issue of insecurity, will not politicize religion. And once the leaders are able to convince the people that this is the direction we are going, this is the project, this is the program of action to take Nigeria above water, then I'm sure Nigerians will follow.
Let me take this conversation back to Abuja studio, where we have Tanko Yakasai. You've listened to the conversation. A lot of names have been put out there, and people say that a lot of people will have inputs into who becomes the vice presidential running mate to Asiwaju. But at the end of the day, ultimately, the decision lies with him and him alone. But some names are being thrown out there, and some of them are Northern Christians. But there's also this belief or this idea that in the North might not want a Northern Christian as a running mate to Asiwaju. What are you hearing? How true is this story or this statement flying around?
No, these are just issues emanating from social media warriors, if I may say. Because if we look in this country, in every zone we have capable people. We have people that can lead this country as president or vice president, be it a Muslim or a Christian. So what I want to tell you is these are just permutations people are making. If today the team sits down and decide to pick a Northern Christian, we will go with that. And we'll go out and tell the people that, yes, this is why we've chosen this as his running mate. And it's all about campaigning, and whether be it, if it's even the Muslim, the whole country will look at the kind of the quality of leadership they will have and what they will be expecting. And this, and Asiwaju's team has the capacity to bring out someone that will be acceptable to the whole country, to the electorates, so that if we go to the general elections, they won't mind picking a Muslim or a Christian. That will not arise. Let me give you an example. Just now you said it has happened during the 1993 elections. But do you know that now, Femi Gbajabiamila, Right Honorable Speaker, is a Muslim. His deputy Wasa is a Muslim. Have you ever had this issue of why Muslim in the House of Representatives? It's not an issue. It's just social media warriors that are just, amplifying this issue of that a Christian from the north cannot do it, or we cannot do a Muslim. So let's move ahead and leave these issues of religion behind us. Whoever imagines that the running mate of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, I'm sure will be a team player, somebody that will be complementing whatever his programs are for this country. And this is somebody that we believe can take this country out of the woods. Because if you look at his programs, what he's been saying, what he's been talking about, there are a lot of things that will change, economically, socially, all these insecurity issues. He highlighted a lot of these things several times. And by the time the programs are being rolled out, people will see it and they imbibe with it, and they will go for the party, go for a candidate, and by God's grace, he wins the election. We're confident.
Okay, let me get back to Barrister Sadiq. A lot of names are being put out there. He has a very short period of time to do that, especially because of the deadline now set by INEC. I think that's 17th of June. Let me ask you, if you, of this list, if you have any favorite of the names that have been put out there.
Well, thank you very much. There are two major things we must consider. The constitution of the country saddled the vice president the responsibility of managing the economy. So number one, the vice president the presidential candidate that must be picked must be someone that has the economic acumen, that can manage the economic situation of the country. Two, it must be someone that can win an election. With our situation in the country, we don't want to know the religion of the person. In 2015, when we were campaigning, we said we were going to reduce the value of naira to dollar. But today, in the black market, dollar is more than 600 naira. So I want a vice president that can so manage our economy, that will strengthen our currency, that will make us a producing nation. And as we have it, once the president comes from the south, the vice president has to come from the north. So I think what is important to Nigerians now is to have a vice president that has capacity, to have a vice president that can win an election. What we want is a better Nigeria. We had a lot of good promises for Nigeria in 2015. We have not been able to fulfill some of those promises. So we want a vice president that can team up with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and give us an idea of our dream, irrespective of the person's religion. What we want is good governance. Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a pagan. The fact is, the value of dollar today is over 600 naira. Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a pagan, the challenge today is our economy has been battered. So we need someone that can team up with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to revive our economy. So for me, irrespective of the religion, it must be someone that we know has capacity to team up with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to revive the economy of this country. It must be someone that can win election. Because as a politician, what is important is, can I win election? It is when you win election that you will start talking about, I want to do this, I want to do this. So it must be someone that we know that can win election. So, and it must be someone that can team up with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to revive the economy of this country.
Right, Engineer Mawai, I'm going to stay with you because you said something about the economy and how the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar has greatly increased, and that's also affecting businesses. But during the presidential primaries, one of the things we heard from most aspirants was the fact that they were going to continue the legacy of the current president, Muhammadu Buhari. And people wondered if this current legacy, you just mentioned the issue of the fact that the exchange rate has now increased. Small businesses are under the weight of the exchange rate. There are issues of inflation. Nigerians are buying things on a higher amount with a higher cost right now. Should Asiwaju continue campaign on the continuation of the legacy of the President Muhammadu Buhari, bearing in mind all of these issues, or should he say, look, we're coming up with a different vision for the country?
Well, as the close associate of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, I know two things he has continually talked about: the issue of security and the issue of economy. All the aspirants that came to speak that day alluded to the fact that we are challenged as a nation and we must improve on our situation. So Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has said this clearly in his manifesto when he spoke, that we have an economy that is not producing. He gave an illustration that we drive car, we can't even produce common brake pad. So what that simply means is that Asiwaju has said that the economy has challenged, and we have to do all within our reach to improve on the economy situation. One other thing that is also very important is, out of everybody that came to speak on the manifesto during the convention, it is only Asiwaju Bola Tinubu that we know has done it somewhere. He is the only one that we know has the capacity to manage the situation in terms of scarcity. As a governor of Lagos, the federal government stopped giving Lagos allocation. Yet Asiwaju Bola Tinubu managed the economy of Lagos, and he said it, that he is proud that Lagos is the 5th largest economy in Africa. So whether he's going to continue with the legacy of President Buhari or not, one thing he has constantly mentioned whenever he goes to campaign is that I would improve on the economy of the country. And he has mentioned a few things that he felt are challenges. For instance, we are not a production nation. And why are we not a producing nation? Cost of production is extremely high because we are challenged with power. Asiwaju mentioned it that he brought Aaron to Nigeria. He brought independent power plants project to Nigeria. They did not allow him work during Obasanjo. So he has said he's going to revive the independent power situation, so that if our power situation genuinely improves, the cost of production would reduce, and with that will become a producing economy. So one thing that is certain with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is he understands the challenges and he has profound solution. And because he has done it with the Lagos state, we are sure and we know he will be able to do it with Nigeria. Today, Lagos is the 5th largest economy, courtesy of what Asiwaju Tinubu did. Look at the day they commissioned the Dangote fertilizer factory. Everybody alluded to the fact that this is a vision of Asiwaju Tinubu. So one thing that is certain and is clear is, with a right combination, with the right vice president, because the constitution says the vice president will manage, will be in charge of the economy, we held the economic council. So with a good vice president, it is so certain and clear that the economic situation of the country will be improved. And once the economic situation of the country improves, the security challenges would also reduce. Because one of indices that would always increase the security challenge is the economic situation. So once the economic situation improves, crime rate will reduce. So Asiwaju Bola Tinubu clearly has a vision. He has said it, he has done it before, and we so much believe that he can do it again.
All right, let me put you on hold and go to Abuja studio, to Abdullahi. Abdullahi, you've listened to Engineer Mawai. He talks about the important role of the vice president, especially because the vice president oversees the economy and economic council. when you look at some of the candidates being put out in the north, which of them do you think has that experience? And when you also put, and I'm sure you're from the north, and I'm sure you put your ears to the ground, what is the preference of the north in terms of some of these names being put out?
Okay, you see, all these names being put out are people that can really do it. And we have them, some are permutations from the northeast, some from the northwest, you know. But what I want to assure you is, whoever the team agree to be the vice president will be somebody that will complement Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. You see, my brother, comrade, Commissioner, when he made mention that Asiwaju, what he did in Lagos, from 1999 to date, there has never been any governor that has done what Asiwaju did in Lagos. So if you are working with Asiwaju, you have to deliver, because he delivers. You must work tirelessly to deliver. So whoever becomes the running mate, I believe will be somebody that has the capacity to also deliver. So names are flying out, you know, and what I'm happy about, all the names coming out are people that have pedigree that can do it. Any of them we feel can do it. So that is the most important thing. Then secondly, you see, we have a lot of stakeholders. Asiwaju will work with all of them, and whoever is being pulled out amongst them, everybody is going to rally behind him, and then we'll have a wrong-free campaign, and it will lead us to victory. What Nigeria needs is a leader just like Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, because we said what his programs are, he's going to continue. We can't deny the fact that Buhari has done a lot of things in some areas. You have to give credit to that. So for him to say he's going to continue on those programs is good for the country, especially like the agricultural transformation, you know. But he is bringing his own, you know, a different approach, so that, all these programs will impact on the masses. Those are the children of the ladder. So that is on that one. Then production, anywhere you talk of production, your thinking goes to power. That is what has been the bone of contention. And Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, what he is planning to do is to generate 15,000 megawatts to complement what we have existing now. That way, our factories will be revived. You know, investors will have the confidence to come in and set up their businesses, because that is what has been the challenge. We have people that are ready to come in, but because there's no power, you know, people are running businesses on chain, and this makes the cost of production very high. That is another area, you know. And then the Constitution itself needs some amendments, so that, challenges here and there with regards to the welfare, these are things you also do to tame corruption. Because all this corruption is because the reward system, in all the cadre of government, from the local government to the state to the federal, from the National Assembly to the judiciary, you know, to the civil servants. So once you repackage them, exactly what he did in Lagos, you know, by improving the welfare of the judicial officers and all that, people will be contented, and they will be focused on doing the job. That way you're taming corruption. So there are a lot of things I've had him plan to do that will change this country, you know.
And when we return,
so this is our belief, this is our take.
When we return, we'll look at some of those things that it has to do. But in the meantime, we do have to go on break. When Political Standpoint returns, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Political Standpoint. We've been talking about the task before the presidential flag bearer of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. First, he has to try and decide who his running mates will be. And then there is the issue of whether he can defeat Atiku, especially with the number of votes he has continually polled in the north. I'm still joined by the Osun State Commissioner for Works and Transport, Engineer Remi Omowai. He joins us via Zoom. We'll have the former legal advisor of the APC, Lagos State Chapter, Barrister Demola Sodiq, and also joining us in Abuja studio is the chairman, Northern Young Professionals for Tinubu, Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai. Let me begin with you now, Engineer Omowai. We've talked so much about what it has to do, but let's talk about the influence that the president would bring to bear here. What influence do you think that the president would bring into his decision in terms of picking a running mate, as well as the northern governors who are now being seen as the heroes of the party?
Well, thank you so much. A few days, I think a day to the primaries, I did an editorial in the Nation newspaper commending the northern governors for believing in one Nigeria. They stood by the truth. And I think Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, for who he is, would really want to seek their opinion. I think we must also give it to the president. The president is the leader of the party. His input will also be key because it will be the combination of the president and the APC's governor and our leaders in the north that will bring out the vote for us. They will be the one that will go and sell the candidacy of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. So their opinion would also be very key. And I also know the president would also want the best as a vice president because coming around in 2015, we had a lot of lofty promises that we have not been able to realize. And the president will still want us to realize this thing under the platform of our party. So I know the president and the APC governors that are termed the heroes of democracy of one Nigeria would really come together and will support Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in getting the right vice presidential candidate. And of course, you should know they will be the one to lead campaign in the north. Asiwaju does not speak Hausa, so when we go to a lot of this rally, they will be the one that will speak Asiwaju's mind. So, and a few of them has also done credibly well as governor of their various states. So I know we'll come together to pick the best. I have always said this, and we all know that of all our fantastic aspirants, Asiwaju seems to be the best. And we were able to come up with our best, which is Asiwaju. So I'm also sure all our leaders, particularly those up north, would also interact well with the presidential candidate to come up with the best as the vice president. So because beyond the peer, what is important is we want to win election. Except we want to deceive ourselves, Atiku Abubakar is a veteran. Is not someone you can wait away. So we must come up with our best combination. We must also get all stakeholders on board. If you look at the last few days, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has been visiting everybody that he contested with, even those that stepped down for him. He's been visiting all of them because we need everybody to come on board to win the election. We know what PDP did to us as a country, so we must not allow them come back to power. They've been out of power for so long, and they are so desperate to come and finish their looting spree in this country. So everybody must come together in APC to ensure that we get our best, to ensure that we win the forthcoming election.
Let's go to Barrister Sodiq because Engineer Omowai made a statement, and I want to follow up on that. He talked about selling the candidacy of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. And in this conversation, in terms of selling the candidacy, the issue of age, whether for him or Atiku, has continued to come up. But let's stay on Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. And that will continue to come up in the conversation. People say, look, maybe it's time for younger leaders in the country. I want to get your thought on how relevant you think that factor is in terms of delivering good governance in the country.
Yes, I think, thank you very much. The APC is a very popular party on ground. We have groundswell of stakeholders in all parts and crannies of Nigeria. We all realize the importance of mobilization. By the time our mobilization machinery unfolds, you will be surprised. you will be surprised. We are not in any way underrating the capability of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. We have been together before, so we all know the rules of the game. We know the tactics. So I'm very confident that when mobilization starts, when campaign and rallies start, we will adopt the Jehovah Witness approach, house to house. You will see the party members. I'll continue to say that the fact that the President Muhammadu Buhari, allowed the party system to run to primaries, free and fair, credible primaries, it's enough to gladden the heart of ordinary party members, so that at the end of the day, they will be ready. They are ready to work for the party. It's going to be
Sadiq, I'm not sure you got my question exactly. I was speaking to the issue of age and how some Nigerians believe. Yeah, how some Nigerians believe that it's time to allow young people rule the country. And I was asking you to speak to whether age is an important factor in terms of delivering good governance.
Yes, you cannot underrate the importance of population spread. The largest portion of our population is the youth, both male and female. And in our party, we have special position for the youth. We have special position for women, and we have special position for people living with disability. We knew this all along. That's why we have planned ahead. So our mobilization is going to include the youths. In fact, they are going to be in the forefront of mobilization in our party. Age goes with wisdom, and Atiku Abubakar and our own candidate, they are in the same age bracket. So either here or there, the youths have no choice but to vote for either of them. So we are going to ensure that we have a better program for the youths, and particularly hope for the country, hope for the future of the country. If you look at the program of Asiwaju, what he termed my vision for Nigeria, I recommend that for reading. I think the youth should take time to read his vision for Nigeria. It's people would lack progress when the leaders has no vision. Asiwaju has a vision, and I will take you back to his reputation, his performance in Lagos State. He had a vision when he came to rule Lagos from 1999 to 2007, and the vision, the fruit of the vision, is manifesting today. That's why Lagos is the 5th largest economy in Africa. So the Nigerian youth should not be despondent. They should have, they should calm down and look at what each candidate is presenting. They should scrutinize what Asiwaju is presenting to them and make up their mind on it. I can assure you, APC will win.
Let's go to Abuja. Let's go to Abdullahi. Barrister Sadiq said Nigerians have no choice except to choose between Atiku and Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. But there is also the third force, or some people now see as a third force, which is Peter Obi, and I'm not sure that's also another choice. But you are a young person, Abdullahi, who is supporting Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. When people ask you why you support him, how do you answer?
Okay, first and foremost, we the Northern Young Professionals looked at these two things. Somebody that can build this country and build the people. That is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Secondly, power should shift to the south. And within our party, I've been a member of APC since 2014, since inception. Within APC, there is nobody in the southern part of this country from our party that has the pedigree, that has the political, capacity. Whatever it takes you're looking for as quality of leaders, and the antecedents of those people, you have no choice but to go with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I want to respond to the issue you made mention about age. This wisdom that Honorable Sadiq mentioned, how do we do with it? We should throw it out? We need our elders. It's the elders that will guide us so that we get it right. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has been there. They're the only few ones left that struggle during the military to bring, the political landscape of Nigeria to where it is today. So they have seen yesterday, they have seen today. So we still want them so that we can see tomorrow. Because all the things that have happened in this country makes them to become nationalists. They want to see Nigeria, the South, the East, the West, the North, everywhere grow and become a better country. That is why you need the elders. Whatever they will see, if you like, go and climb Aso Rock. You can't see it. So we want elders to go with us. We want them to be guiding us. By the time it comes to our turn, we are being groomed.
Because I'm sorry, I do have to put you on hold. We have just a few minutes left, and I want to get like the final word from everyone in just 30 seconds each, rather. I'll begin with you, Engineer Mawaye. What's your final thoughts on the road ahead for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu?
Okay, thank you so much. What is important to us as youth or as a elderly person is a good Nigerian. Out of everybody that is on ground, the only person we can trust is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. You mentioned Peter Obi. Peter Obi, for every 10 words he gives you, 9 will not be true. So it is important we all come together to support someone that we know has done it before. He has the capacity to identify good materials. As a governor of Lagos, he had people from other tribes in the cabinet to get Lagos to where Lagos is today. Asiwaju is not a bigot. His wife is a senior pastor in the Redeemed Christian Church of God. He's a Nigerian. So we need to support someone that has displayed that he has the capacity for us to have our new Nigerian. So we must support Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. All
right, thank you, Engineer Mawaye. Let me get your final thought. Abdullahi Yakasai, what's your final thought on the road ahead for Asiwaju?
My final thought is we should please allow a Southerner to rule this country. A Northerner has done it for 8 years. People should look at the southern part and pick a candidate that emerges from the southern part. And there's no other person that can do it like Asiwaju. Secondly, people should go and get their voters card. That is the work we are going to embark on now, so that people exercise that right and vote who they think will lead them. By God's grace, it's going to be Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
All right, and finally, let's get your thoughts, Barrister Ademola Sadiq.
Youths particularly, because they are large in number, that they should take a look at Asiwaju's profile. He has worked in some of the best auditing companies in America. He has worked in mobile. He has performed wonders in Lagos State. It's a wonderful profile. I think the moment is the moment for Asiwaju, and the youth should allow it to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We're joined by Osun State Commissioner for Works and Transport, Engineer Remi Mawaye. He joined us via Zoom. We also had the former legal advisor of the APC Lagos State Chapter, Barrister Ademola Sadiq. And then from our Abuja studio, we're joined by the chairman, Northern Young Professionals for Tinubu, Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time with us on a political standpoint. And that's the show today. We'll continue to monitor the political climate as always, and we'll bring you updates on the events and developments as they happen. Thanks for watching.